Foreign investment involves capital flow from one country to another, granting the foreign investor extensive ownership stakes in domestic companies and assets. Why and how the investment is attracted, funded, and implemented can be a source of controversy, especially when mixed with fertile political opposition, simply because no political organization wants to be outdone by the other. Teo Ah Khing is a foreign investor with a novel business model where nearly 1,000 acres of prime St Lucian land will be developed with hotels, marinas, and an international horse racing course. And part of this investment will be funded by the sale of St Lucian sovereignty. He has been vilified by the media, crucified by the opposition St Lucia Labour Party and the St Lucia National Trust. Yet, he has been hailed the savior of the South by thousands who stand to benefit from this $2.6 billion investment. He has never granted an interview to any local journalist. Now, Teo Ah Khing tells all, from meeting Dr. Kenny Anthony to the official opening of the Desert Star Holding project to the formula of horses and passports for sale. During the course of this interview, is there any question or any topic that I'm not allowed to ask you a question on? You can tell me now so that we don't go down that street.
Yeah, let's be forward and ask and shoot whatever you want.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, your journey from Malaysia to Singapore, and you did that with Chinese parents.
Mom and dad actually are the natives of China. Dad is a fisherman and left the southern part of China at a very young age to seek for a better future.
Tell me about your educational background. What did you study? Where did you study?
Well, after almost 7 years in Sydney, I graduated with a Bachelor of Architecture, and I married my wife, Ivy, and both we went to Boston. I was luckily admitted to study my master in urban design and architecture at Harvard. So I was the first Malaysian to be admitted in the American school from Malaysia at that time. So it was quite a challenge. After graduation, which is late 1980s, I worked in America for a while and then was headhunted and then joined then, I believe still now, the world's largest architecture and planning practice in Japan. So from New York, flew right to Japan and stayed with them, the company, for almost 4 years. And I personally handled and set out their office before I left and started on my own in 1993.
From 1993 till, let's say, 2012, tell me some of the more notable projects that you worked on.
It's a long journey there. We were very fortunate, and all this while, bear in mind, then we are consultants doing a lot of development projects for client, be a government client as a big client. The biggest project then, when we started, fortunate enough, was a new federal administrative city called Putrajaya in Malaysia. Then the Prime Minister wanted to relocate all the 26 ministries in a very urban, congested town of Kuala Lumpur into a new precinct, so that to facilitate better communication, more efficiency. So he dedicated a land called Putrajaya, and we are fortunate enough to won the competition to rebuild and design the new administrative city, and that was almost like now 20, 30 years ago. And so we designed that. And that helped us, the company, to make our name, so to speak.
Your work with President Musharraf?
Well, you had done your homework. Yes, it was introduced when President Musharraf then visited Malaysia and exactly visited Putrajaya, where the Prime Minister's office is. He was impressed. He was very impressed with the preservation of contour, the green, the nature, the environment blend into the built environment. So naturally, then we were introduced, and we were then one thing lead to another. We ended up with designing the army headquarters in Islamabad.
Why do you think your firm was chosen to do that?
I guess all come down to one thing. We are action-orientated, and we are very conscious about costs, time, exploration of the client, and be able to translate those ideas into implementable and action plan.
What was your role in the design and construction of the Maidan Grandstand in Dubai?
Well, Maidan Grandstand is probably one of the major pinnacle in our career, in our mid-career. We have done quite a few works already in Dubai for Sheikh Mohammed himself, and on the reclamation of the pearl, we call it the pearl, or commonly known as the palm. There were 3 palms in Dubai, and after doing the palm, we were invited to try to design something that we had never done before in our career, in our corporate career. That's the world largest racetrack and the grandstand.
Regional media outlets have reported that your DSH company previously approached other Caribbean islands, including St. Kitts, Grenada, St. Vincent, before you settled on St. Lucia. True or false?
A quick answer is false, not true. Perhaps I would like to explain how we come to St. Lucia. We have a mutual friend who is a jockey from UK, and he has a friend called Winston Trim. I never knew the tenacity of this man, but he reminded me of some of the quality of a great stallion. And I was introduced to him, and he subsequently introduced and brought me to see the Prime Minister. And that's my first visit to the Caribbean. I have never been to St. Kitts. I have never been to all the other islands that you mentioned.
So let's start with, why didn't it work out with the Kenny Anthony administration?
As I said, when we came here since March 2015, subsequently I came many times, and we make presentation not just to the leadership, to the whole cabinet, and had long discussion, and we put forward a team to discuss items, and I thought at that time everything was okay, and we were told that they would sign an agreement quickly, because we need to assemble a team to undertake this work, to understand the site, so on and so forth. And up until, I believe, and I recall correctly, until May 2016, which is already a year gone past, we were told to hold on, and as you know, our home, and we are based in Singapore, it always takes more than 30 hours to reach here, and you can't fly back. So every trip coming here, as a chairman of the group, we have businesses all over. It's quite draining, and we were not sure then whether our proposal or the content of the proposal was seriously, whether it's going to go ahead with the kind of response. So we indeed, after being told that the signing is not going to happen, so we kind of took the message very clearly that the administration are not going to entertain this project. But we didn't make any announcement and so on, just wait.
The political tide has changed in St. Lucia as voters ousted the St. Lucia Labour Party, SLP, pushing the St. Lucia Labour Party, led by Dr. Kenny Anthony, out of office. In a press conference after the results were announced, Prime Minister-elect Alan Chastity says his party will deliver on its election promises to revive St Lucia's economy.
But some of my friends knew about it. Some friends from Barbados and so on and so forth. They said, why don't you, Teo, explore other islands? You have great ideas. I think the idea is very good. Why don't you come over? And I did. Then stop over in Barbados. That after we were told that we are not going to sign.
What was the main reason given for not signing?
There were no reason given. That's whole. There were no any reason given whether they not agree with this or that, and because I would like to say that most of the content in the framework we signed later on, a couple of months later, are more or less the same with the new administration.
Are you sure, Mr. Teo?
Yes, I can. I'm the one involved. I can vouch for that.
Why not you, as the investor, come in with your own money and build your project? Why must our citizenship be sold to finance your project?
What use is an umbrella when there is no rain? Many financial institutions claim to be there in times of plenty. But what have they done of late? They have proposed moratoriums, but in practice saddled you with compounded interest. Many have been reluctant to defer repayments, and now some have even reduced on the interest earned on your savings accounts, just when you need your earnings the most. Thankfully, I don't have that problem. I am a member of the Library Credit Union, and they are there with me, rain or shine. They now offer unprecedented interest rates on loans and hassle-free debt management solutions because they're not for profit. They are for people.
The Library Cooperative Credit Union. We're not a bank. We're better.
Here's to the stylish ones, the soccer ones, the pulling ones, and the beach bums. The ones who disregard the status quo, and the technologically advanced ones. For those who pay less and demand more. For those who want this, that, and everything in between, the Tivoli. Starting at only $599 per month duty-free. For the first responders, our doctors, nurses, firefighters, and police officers who need a test drive. Call M Motors today. Telephone 451-4269.
Life is a series of triumphs and trials. The circle of life has all the usual certainties and, of course, the unpredictable. Just one can affect you and your loved ones. Sadly, many fail to prepare for the unforeseen. Thankfully, we've been here for over 138 years, helping you plan and recover. We offer peace of mind at that critical moment. GTM Insurance. Sound, solid, and reliable. Call us today at 458-6300 or log on to gtminsurance.net.
We keep hearing that. Why was the Labour administration secret about the investments?
Give away our land and feel our collective anger. Understand that we'll fight you.
Because I do know Kenny Anthony is not stupid. Okay? Or at least not as stupid as Alan Chastity who signed that deal.
That's why we put the horse racing as one of the major agenda in an agreement, and that hasn't changed. And I later found out that Alan Chastity is not a horse enthusiast. It's not, right? But it's in It's in the framework. So that item alone, which is our phase 1A completed, I can tell you it is not Alan Chestnut's idea at all. Not his idea at all. It started off from, as I said, Winston Trim meeting then the Prime Minister. The idea came about from there. And Winston Trim is a major force that said, Teo, I think we have to support the Prime Minister. He loves horse racing. Let's build it. Let's do it. And the land is here. And the land was identified, by the way. And it was also introduced by the Prime Minister in Beaufort.
Dr. Kenny Anthony suggested using the lands.
That area, yes. If not, I'm a foreigner here. How do I know there's a piece of land there? I would have no idea, right? It was introduced that there's availability of the land, then we can study. Well, it's not ideal, but I think it's flat enough for us to consider.
Many believe that the reason you did not sign that agreement with Kenny Anthony's administration, and quite shortly after Alan Chastney came into power, you were able to get the agreement signed, is because DSH part-financed the Alan Chastney administration's campaign during the 2016 elections. True or false?
This is a big false.
St Lucia CIP previously expressed concern with various aspects of the DSH project. Included among them, the project's reliance on funding from St Lucia CIP, which was reportedly nearly 80%. The developer, Teo Ah Khing, lacked the experience in dealing with CIP. He had a weak marketing plan. He had a complex company structure. There was no evidence of the developer's equity would have been provided for the project. And the project posed a threat to other potential developments in the vicinity. How many times was the DSH project resubmitted to CIP and Invest St. Lucia before it was approved? And what were the reasons for rejection?
Well, I must admit that there is kind of a different kind of understanding in the three areas. First, I believe because of our nature of our work, it is a huge master plan. It is not a single hotel. And St. Lucia CIP defined the qualification of a CIP approved project is a hotel, it's a boutique, it's a piece rather than a whole master plan. So we didn't understand that. So when we were invited to submit, we submit the whole master plan. Of course, it created a lot of uncertainty. You mean the whole project is for CIP, and people misinterpreted, and that's not our intention. We did not understand the exact CIP qualification. It's about a particular project. Of course, 12 months later, we understood it very well, and we submitted phase 1A, phase 1B, one hotel, 250 rooms. And it's proof. It's been approved, right? So it took time for us to understand. However, whatever we submit, it has a piece of puzzle as a whole picture. We always keep the big picture in mind, meaning that in this, what we subsequently call Pearl of the Caribbean, it has many components. Some part we invest. For example, the racetrack, the barn, the salary of 200 staff is already past 20 over million. And that is an investor or entrepreneur's contribution to the country. And it's built on government leased land. If you understand, no investor, especially foreign investor, will put their money and build something that they cannot take away on the land that doesn't belong to them. So there was a lot of misinformation circulating around that, this and that. But as you know, Dale, I like to let the action speak for itself.
DSH stated the gross development value of the Pearl of the Caribbean stands at $2.6 billion. St. Lucian CIP estimated the gross development cost of phase 1 was $340 million.
Right.
Yes? How much of your own capital was invested in phase 1?
Our phase 1A racetrack is 100%. And our phase 1B, so to speak, one of the hotel, we have submitted, and we are going to raise minimum about 28 million, which is going to be about 70% of our equity to build the hotel. And by the way, Dale, I have today not earned a single CIP from the government yet.
What do you mean?
We have not sold a single, all our funding are self-funded. There is not a single cent from CIP that goes into the project.
Mr. Teo, so it's understood that you have 200 passports that you need to sell to finance this?
Well, officially, the project entitlement is 200 passports.
Out of these 200 passports, how many have you sold?
We have a lot of applicants, but we have not collected a single cent. Why? Because we want to make sure, number one, that if this program were to start, it's going to be sustainable. It's not going to be hit and run and open and close. That's why I'm a great proponent of ribbon cutting, not groundbreaking.
Do you have a monopoly on selling St. Lucian passports at present?
A monopoly?
Yes. Is it you and only you?
I don't think so. I think there are other projects that are selling passports all over the world. No.
In 2019, you also told Millionaire Asia the gross development value of the Pearl of the Caribbean would more than double to US $6.5 billion from $2.6 billion. What developments led to that increase?
After the announcement, if you trace carefully, the Carnival and Royal Caribbean, that's after 1 year of intensive discussion with them overseas. And they finally realized the government is determined to grow St. Lucia, not just as a day port. They want to make it into a home port. And they took interest, and they sent their very serious senior management come down, met up with us. They have also sent a team to study the constraint, the opportunity in the south. And most of them, if not all of them, agree that this is a great opportunity to really enhance the Viewford port, that region, the harbor area, to be a world class.
You were also, shortly after signing the framework agreement, you were on tour with quite a few Chinese investors. Tell us about that tour.
Oh, wow. If you recall, after the signing of framework agreement, we have been approached by many people, not just the Chinese, Indonesian, the Vietnamese, and in the Asia side, they're a bit very crowded, the kind of industries on logistics, supply, and all these big supplies and logistic chain heard about Pearl of the Caribbean then. So naturally, a lot of these corporations are interested to see whether they have opportunity. But we invited them to come here to see whether St. Lucian can be positioned as a hub for logistics for the Caribbean. And these are the world's largest logistics supply chain among the 5 groups that we invited, China Logistics. So they came. Of course, we had to put aside political alignment. As I said, we are not political aligned. And today, anybody say, I can come here and contribute to the island, can you entertain us, take care of us? I say, yes.
Mr. Teo, why would St. Lucian passports or St. Lucian citizenship be sold? The funds then go into escrow, or be it handed to you, which would then be used to create a development. Why not you, as the investor, come in with your own money and build your project? Why must our citizenship be sold to finance your project?
I will answer in 2 ways. First and foremost, we are not using government passport money to build my project. Yes, I must qualify. For example, no CIP money being used for racetrack. The passport, the beneficiary of the passport, as I said, are predominantly all from Southeast Asia. Let me give you an example. Let me say this categorically. even we don't sell the 200 passport or only have 50 takers, for example, the project will still be built. And how we build? Because we have enough resources to finish the project. So we can't wait until the full 200 passports are sold, like others, then we start. When I said I committed, then we want to do a ribbon cutting because we are building an institution for university, for hotel, hospitality, school, things like that. So we are not building a real estate just to sell the passport. I'm setting up a learning institution here, a university, so that university take in 200 students a year and they churn out certificate for this, and the passport holder also engage in a certificate for world famous university. For a 300,000 US dollars, they think St Lucia offer the best value for money in the world. Of course, we as a developer had to pay the university a lot of school tuition fees, which is out of our pocket, right? And we have to then use a real estate or hotel to give it to the CIP investors for them to hold for 5 years. That's their property. So at the end of the day, minus all the administrative costs, you ask me, Mr. Teo, are you making money from this? I would say, I don't lose money.
When you do start to sell the 200 passports that you have the quota on, who will have control over these funds?
The CIP had outlined a very clear process in terms of where the money come from, when did they pay the money, subject to the approval, due diligence, so on and so forth. The steps are very clearly outlined, and we follow the steps. But insofar as an investor point of view, there was suggestion that is there a possibility to set up a common pool of escrow so that investors feel, because they also want to feel safe that their money are in the safe hands, not in my hand, in a third entity's escrow account. We say it's fine. So we present this to the government for consideration as well.
I've heard everything, but you still have not answered my question.
Yes.
If this is your project, why aren't you financing it?
We are. We are talking to bank for financing, to building all this. We are. As I said, even, let's say, our CIP marketing process effort fail, we only get one CIP. This project will continue. And without financing, this project will not continue. It will stall.
Here's to the stylish ones, the soccer ones, the pulling ones, and the beach bums. The ones who disregard the status quo, and the technologically advanced ones. For those who pay less and demand more. For those who want this, that, and everything in between, the Tivoli. Starting at only $599 per month duty-free. For the first responders, our doctors, nurses, firefighters, and police officers who need a test drive, call M Motors today. Telephone 451-4269.
Hey, stop it.
That's what I'm here for.
For over 138 years, we've had your back. From home contents to medical, auto to business continuity. GTM Insurance. Sound, solid, and reliable.
thousands of people lost their jobs as a result of COVID-19. My family and I were also affected. Naturally, there was some anxiety. We have our financial commitments, our car, and my student loan. I got an email from my library credit union offering to cut my loan payments in half. That was the breathing room I needed. What amazed me was their thoughtfulness. They didn't wait for me to ask, they offered. I've been with them for eons, simply because my library credit union is about people helping people. And it is really true what they say. They're not a bank, they're better.
Let's talk about your racetrack, the horse racing track. What were some of the challenges getting that horse racing track off the ground?
Oof. I don't have a whole day to talk about, but first and foremost, we started off with the understanding that the track will be free of encumbrances. As you know, the track is very big. The distance, the circumference is more than a mile. So it covered a big track area. It had to be flat. We were 3/4 in construction, and we were told that the neighbor, one house, which is leased from government, will move. And that guy stayed there for a long time.
Heard about it.
Yes. And as you know, every day we have machinery costs burning, right? And we have burned over millions just waiting.
For the one guy?
Yes. So these are the challenges. These are unseen challenges. But nothing can be far from the truth if only money, and we understand, and government have been very, very clear explaining and showing their efforts, and they're going through the due process of legal process. What can we do? So we then boldly suggest to government, how about turn the track 90 degrees? We did. And that's the track that you see.
You moved the entire track for the one house?
We reconstruct the track. It cost us, we abandoned the 3.over million. We redo, turn it around. If you check the satellite, you will see the old satellite, that is the one, it stopped at the fence of the house. And then we do this one, across the road. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is last year when we were launching the December 13 Pitons Cup, and there were a lot of news in the market, and we kill our horse, eat the horse meat, and the horse die in our farm. I never experienced it in the rest of the world, except in St Lucia. And there was an attempt to stop people coming to enjoy, to celebrate a National Day event. But the St Lucian are not, I'm so grateful that St Lucian, they themselves come and voted with their feet.
Mr. Teo, take me back to the moment when you got the call that the heavy equipment at that site was being set on fire.
Well, I will have to take it positively, say it was an accident.
Really? What,
there's no life.
It got hit by a star?
Yeah, there's no life loss, and that's the most important. So, those are teething problem, I call it. Teething problem. People do not know us, and there are maybe some people who want to see, how is this Teo Ah Khing like? Let's poke him a little bit, see whether he react or not. If our guys are safe, and we are progressing, even though the speed was hampered slower, but we are moving forward, I think that is a plus.
How much money did the St Lucian government invest in that racetrack?
0.
I'm looking at you surprised because every news outlet has said otherwise.
No. Well, St. Lucian government support us, giving approval. Every nail, every plank, every roof, every drop of sand, every grain of sand, the rail, everything we have put in.
Did the government of St. Lucia pay for your horses to be flown into St. Lucia?
No. Horses are all purchased under the banner of China Horse Club and then imported into St. Lucia and syndicated to interest parties in St. Lucia.
Mr. Teo,
Government are not involved.
Mr. Teo, do you have an active public relations arm to your company?
There are many areas we have identified that need to really build up, and one of them is the public relation.
At any point in time, did your company try to rebalance that misinformation which was in the press?
Well, we have, but we do not, as a company, especially if you understand us, we've been 7-8 years in China. We also don't react, but we do have a few spokesmen going from 1 or 2 radio talk show, TV shows, and to try to level up some of this misinformation. But as I said, I myself believe that once the project is completed and people see for themselves, just like December 13, a lot of this will dissipate.
So take me back to December 13th. You were standing in the Oval. A dream is finally about to become a reality. And the first race, and they're off. Take me back to that feeling.
Well, I remember very clearly, I was standing right in the middle of the parade ring. And on my left, on my right are all our visitors. These are all the investors. These are all the captains of the industry, standing next to me and watching to see what we told them is going to happen. 8 horses in the gate, whether the gate's going to open or not, whether the jockey going to fall off or not, whether it's going to be exciting race or the horses run like donkeys, all sorts of things cross your mind, you understand? And plus, hospitality, is it up to the standards, things like that. There are many things that we just want to put out a good show, not just for us, because government leaders are around. They invited all the who and who in the town. So a lot of pressure, definitely. But when they're off and they came home and they're competing and they won, race 1 over.
I think it's like a miracle for us. It's one thing that we have been looking forward for from the time it started.
I think we need more of that in St. Lucia. The young people was on track. Everything was in place, and that I appreciate.
So I came here to see that the government of St. Lucia failed. And when I reached here, I realized this is the best thing that can ever happen to St. Lucia.
Well, I've never seen that before in St. Lucia. It's only on international television I've seen that, like in the outside world. But first time, it's very amazing.
Organization, I would say, boy, that's 100. The turnout is coming, man. It's coming, and I feel like in future, it will be real big.
Well, I believe that this facility would increase the activities down south, that more people would be drawn to the south because we don't really have a lot of attention down here.
For a first-time event, I'm very proud to be a St. Lucian. I'm very proud.
We are ready for the start of the DSH Caribbean Star Pitons Cup, and they're off.
The last one, Pitons Cup. It is the best race distance as far as American race are concerned. We call it from the chute, the straight, 1800, 1 turn, come back. There are not many racetracks in the world that have this combination. And we promote it as a Pitons Cup. The American audience watch it. The UK audience through UK talk watch it. And that's how we make our name in the horse industries. St. Lucia has one, if not the best, sand track in the world.
They're coming down toward the finish. Casting Crowns has the lead. Colonel's Pride trying and run by you, but the Pitons Cup goes to Casting Crowns.
Did your firm engage the local concerned groups in Vieux Fort?
Time is precious. With Labrie Cooperative Credit Union's online member service, you can make better use of time. Pay bills, transfer money between accounts, check balances, or even apply for a loan from any smart device. The only thing left to do is sign up. Labrie Cooperative Credit Union, we're not a bank, we're better. To download the app or to learn more, log on to mylabriecu.com.
Here's to the stylish ones, the soccer ones, the pulling ones, and the beach bums. The ones who disregard the status quo, and the technologically advanced ones. For those who pay less and demand more. For those who want this, that, and everything in between, the Tivoli. Starting at only $599 per month duty-free. For the first responders, our doctors, nurses, firefighters, and police officers who need a test drive, call M Motors today. Telephone 451-4269.
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. And everything that I do, la 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 la. Do 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 do.
Your second race was on February the 16th.
Correct.
And it was an absolute flop.
I knew you were going to say that. We have increased our horse ownership by 300%. That is the objective. In the tent, there are 5 more horse owners showing up based on December 13th marketing. And February's focus wasn't, to be honest, with the public draw. We know what the public capacity can hold. We know that based on December 13. But December 13 showed us very weak link on the ownership statistics, that we can't collect all the owners together, promote ownership of horses, because we are planning for the next batch of 40 horses to come in. So February drive was ownership.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet described the DSH racecourse as a loss leader. He says, this track ain't gonna make no money. Right? It's just a cheese to attract the investors. Do you agree?
He's correct. The Prime Minister is correct to say that the racetrack, even for horse racing, is a loss leader, because we don't expect racetrack to make money, and therefore the government are basically not investors. We knew that. However, being an entrepreneur who invested in this track that we know and we love very much because of horse industries, it was interesting to note the comment from this businessman last Sunday, said that I was very surprised and I'm so happy I didn't go to the souffle, that I come and see there are entrepreneurs who are investing in the country at this scale. People are comparing notes to see whether they want to step into St Lucia or not. And are they going to be the first person, not a step on the moon, are they going to embarrass themselves losing money? And it's not that we are losing money, they saw the vision of Pearl of the Caribbean, and they understand exactly what we're doing. And I wish I had more friends like this on the island.
With regards to the DSH project, which we are not supporting, because in effect, St Lucia is actually giving away lands for free.
Did your firm engage local concerned groups in Viewfort?
We have never officially made any engagement with a local group. If you are talking about those interest parties and things like that, no.
What role did the protest action play in the change of plans?
Well, we did not intentionally wanted to have the project as a controversial project. We were doing it as a studies to see that what are the hidden potential for the South, what are the possibility of the South that it possesses. Then the government can put some plan together to do a detailed studies. Before we even go to that step, the thing, as I said, blown out of the whole path, and I realized that this has become a political subject.
I don't believe in bluffing people. I don't believe in misleading people.
The government of St Lucia of the Labour Party never signed any document with Teo Ah Khing. We never signed a document with Teo Ah Khing. We never signed any contract. We never signed any agreement.
In a democracy, the opposition party's primary role is to keep a watch over government's actions which may affect the citizens of a country. The main duty of the opposition is to criticize the policies of the government, to meticulously check government's expenditure, and to report to the citizens any anomalies through the local press. The reasons for opposition is often phrased as wanting what's best for St. Lucia. But likewise, what's best for St. Lucia achieved by the party in power spells disaster for the opposition at the polls. From the onset, the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party downplayed advancement or be it fertilization of the Desert Star Holding project. The leasing of the Beauséjour lands, the horse racing track, and the use of CIP dollars to fund this project have all been denied by opposition sopranos. However, the paper trail paints a vastly different picture. On April 16, 2015, Dr. Kenny Anthony penned this correspondence to Teo Ah Khing. Dear Sir, thank you for your letter dated April 1, 2015. I thank you for your continued interest in investing in St. Lucia. It was indeed an honor to receive you and your team in St. Lucia a few weeks ago. The government of St. Lucia has no objection if Invest St. Lucia provides you, as requested, a 6-month exclusivity agreement for Desert Star Holdings to review the following properties: Beauséjour, Canals, and duty-free Point Seraphine. The George F.L. Charles Airport site does not fall under the jurisdiction of Invest St. Lucia, so I have excluded this site from your list. However, the government would welcome your company's ideas on the future development of that area. It is understood that exclusivity means that none of these properties will be sold to any outside party during this period of review by Desert Star Holding. Yours sincerely, Kenny D. Anthony. On September 4th, 2015, Philip Pierre, acting then as Prime Minister of St. Lucia, also wrote to Teo Ah Khing. Dear Sir, the government of St. Lucia is pleased that your company Desert Star Holdings Limited is well advanced in its plans to invest in an international horse racing track and support services, tourism and residential accommodation and entertainment facilities at Beauséjour Viewfort St. Lucia. I wish to assure you that every effort consistent with the laws of St. Lucia shall be made to facilitate these investments and ensure their commencement at the earliest possible time. The government of St. Lucia looks forward to further developing a relationship with Desert Star Holdings Limited and will be prepared to sign a memorandum of understanding outlining our respective responsibilities with such endeavors. On January 19, 2016, 6 months before general elections, the master plan for the DSH development was submitted to Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. These renderings included the horse racing track, a marina in the Makoti mangrove, and a hotel development. These renderings were accepted and acknowledged by Dr. Kenny D. Anthony. To facilitate your horses, the government had to decommission the View Fort sanitary landfill, tune of millions of dollars. And now, all the garbage from Soufrière right through to Dennery must be transported on a daily basis to the Dayglow landfill, costing government in excess of $5 million annually. Teo Ah Khing, what is your contribution to this bill?
We never, ever put a pressure on government. You must cover the solid waste. We went ahead to construct our racetrack. But we noticed once we put out the fence, all our fence we stuck with paper, rubbish paper, and the odor that comes when the easterly wind bring it over there.
Well, that's my point, Mr. Teo.
Yeah. However, the race continue. Construction continue. We never say, if you do not want to cover this, we'll stop the race. Never.
Mr. Teo, I understand.
So,
I understand all of that.
yes.
But because your development is in full swing, now the garbage from the south must be transported miles away. And I understand all the problems with the mangroves and so forth. That's been there for 20 years. The government of St. Lucia, the people of St. Lucia now have to pay over $5 million annually to truck refuse to the north, in great part to convenience your development. In great part. What then is your contribution to that expense?
We are then emboldened. Because what the government is doing, we are emboldened to put in then all the infrastructure, real estate, to enhance the land value. What does government gain by developer building? Tax, real estate tax here and there, where currently it's just a few cows eating the grass.
The meat processing plant in View Fort was a sore spot. It was a
You
gift.
cover everything.
It was a gift from Taiwan. Now, it's under your control. You have promised that you will build us a new abattoir. The question is, when?
Well, the framework stated very clearly the understanding that we will replace.
When?
Whenever government found a piece of land, whenever it's ready, then we call contract, we build and we pay.
In 2020, an election looms. Considering the bad press that you have gotten and the bashing that you have gotten from the St. Lucia Labour Party, you have been vilified in the press. I guess you realize that.
I was told many times, yeah.
What do you think will happen if and when they win?
Can I say in my own layman's term, right? I think for the last 28 years in all the country that we have done our project, including starting from today's interview in Malaysia and all over to Pakistan, to Dubai, and so on and so forth, we always put the people first in our project, people in the country. Therefore, I believe come 2020, the people of St. Lucia will put their foot down and tell me whether we are welcome or not. And then I'll take the message.
The leeches are those who come to a poor country and want the country to spend over $3 million doing Bartem Cheval for them. Spend millions of dollars diverting roads. A leech will come here, like those who go in our NIC funds and take millions of dollars for some Cabot Link project. Mr. Speaker. These are the leeches.
When you hear all of this bad press about you, how does that make you feel?
It makes us stronger. it makes us stronger, honestly.
Because once the land is transferred, the option is his to either lease or buy. It is his option. I don't know which jackass developer you get in land an acre, $1 an acre for 99 years. See, same way I paid for the whole 99 years. One time, look at $99, so
Now we know that there are fundamental defects, because what Mr. Teo Ah Khing is engaged in essentially is to use the very resources of the people of the country through the sale of their passports to finance this project.
Citizenship by Investment Act number 14 of 2015 makes provision for any developer or individual to apply to the government of St Lucia through cabinet for the approval of a project to be termed an approved real estate project. Under this route for the grant of citizenship, the Citizenship by Investment program therefore funds that specific project. So this is not unique to any one developer.
Let me repeat, no government funds have gone into the racetrack.
As long as we know that all those criticisms are no base, they have done for the sake of other reasons. If they had criticized us based on our design fault, then I would take it really seriously. But some of this misinformation came from nowhere. So we know that we just have to be very cautious, continue to be responsible, continue to engage with the community. How long have we gone? More than an hour. This guy took 4 hours, 2 hours already.
Final question.
Final
questions.
He has asked too many questions already. He had done the 3 years interview in one go.
Mr. Teo, final question.
I thought that's it. 30 seconds.
For the last 4 years.
5 years.
For the last 5 years, you've never granted an interview, a long-form interview with any journalist in St. Lucia. Why did you agree to this interview with Untold Stories?
I came, as I said, I didn't realize it's going to be a long interview, and that's why I'm dressed like this. But I think as we speak, it is a very good time of the whole 5 years now to do a little bit of take and summarize my thoughts as appropriate. And there's nothing to hide. The truth 5 years ago is today still the same thing. We don't fabricate the stories, but it's good for you to give me an opportunity and to narrate this, and some of the things I even forgotten. And you are a very detailed person and you pick up everyone, and I want to commend you for that. And hopefully the next interview is 5 years' time.